All right, guys. So, hang on, Chloe. Hang on. Even at 3 years. All right, so I decided to start with the pins again to kind of change it up a little bit. This is from Homestead Beginnings, and this is one. I did another one on how to start a homestead when you're flat broke. This one is how to start homesteading on a budget. So here we go. There is a calmness to the outdoors. There's peace when you start seeing how animals and food grow all on their own without much human interaction. It reminds you of our hope, promises, and connection with nature. So many of us can agree and say we would love to be more connected and raise and grow more food, but do we have the drive, persistence, dedication, and resilience to give it a go? I know I do. How about you guys? Do you guys have the drive and persistence and dedication and resilience to give it a go on homesteading? It's worth it. Homesteading doesn't mean you have to do everything by hand or scratch. It does help, though, because eventually you'll have to. At the beginning of our journey, that would discourage me when I wasn't doing it all. Unfortunately, starting from scratch, working full-time jobs, raising kids, and doing everything all at once is impossible. And our goal as Faith First Farm is literally being able to sustain us financially from our homestead with, my paintings and with other things that we make and can sell online and just a whole bunch of other different things. And, eventually I know it'll be enough to sustain us, but it's just getting started. Remember to start small and keep on going. The tips and tricks below will help you. The tips and tricks that are mentioned will help get you started on the road toward a more sustainable lifestyle without breaking the bank to get started. Here's how to start a homestead with no money. To get started, create a checklist of everything you'll need to do to get your homestead up and running. This may include fencing, planting crops, obtaining animals, and more. Then, once you have a plan in place, research what homesteading laws exist in your state so you can be sure to stay compliant. That's important. Decide what you want to grow or raise. You'll probably be surprised by just how much food is available in your neighborhood, even if it's in an urban area. Take a look at your yard. Do you have space to plant some edibles like tomatoes or zucchini? Is there room in your garden or patio for a few pots of herbs? Perhaps you could get your hands on some starts, seedlings that already have roots and are ready to be transplanted into the soil. That's going to be another thing, for us to have the seedlings to sell, and that's going to go into our homestead fund. You can grab seed packets, usually in late winter, or as they mentioned in the book, in the fall is a great time to get those. Or early spring, Dollar Tree for 20. Okay. Yes, you can, but it's better to get heirloom, non-GMO seeds. Growing your own food is one of the best ways to start homesteading. Our local library and cooperative extensions started seed programs. You can get seeds for free, and if you have seeds to share, you can do that too. It's a great way to start growing anything. And I think that's another thing I'm probably going to get into is saving a certain amount of our own seeds, and I'll buy, get those little bags, the little Ziploc bags, and little labels, and we'll have our printer, and, I'll have to put Faith First Farm and Homestead, and then, what seeds they are. And then we'll sell like certain heirloom packets of our own seeds. So, and if you have seeds to share, you can do that too. It's a great way to start growing anything. Fruit trees are a great way to start your homestead. In just a year or two, you will have enough of a harvest for your family to eat, and then a few more years, more than enough for your family to eat. And fruit trees, that's something else I'm going to be working a lot on in Michigan, is growing up the fruit trees from seed to be able to sell those to other people that are other beginning homesteaders. Fruit trees are expensive, but there's a good chance your neighbors have one that would be willing to give you some new growth for free or very cheaply. Where's your dad? I like to wait until the end of the spring or fall to find fruit trees marked down. Perennials, herbs, fruits, and more are great items to ask for in your local free or nothing Facebook groups in the spring. You can even start this technique by looking online or in the newspaper classifieds to check under the free category for free fruit trees. For us New Yorkers, I see even these in the penny saver. Another great place to find fruit trees is at the end of the season when they go on clearance at Home Depot and Lowe's. I could have got a 4-in-1 cherry tree set for $119 on Home Depot, which is really good. Because that comes out to about $40 a piece. For example, I picked up 2 apple trees for $10 each at the end of last summer at Tractor Supply. I typically see fruit trees marked down in New York at Tractor Supply and other local farm and country stores. Susan. Gardening. A relatively easy way to start homesteading for cheap is to create a garden. It's also a great way to get your feet wet so you can learn about all the different aspects of homesteading. For example, you might want to plant some radishes in one area and spinach in another so that by the time they're ready to harvest, you know how to store each one. If you don't have much yard space, you can always plant some herbs on your windowsill. However, container gardening is underrated in my opinion, and it can be more difficult because again, you have to fertilize and you have to feed them because they will go through all the nutrients. And then they don't do very well. So you can even start plants indoors like peppers and tomatoes. I have several specific ways to help you start a garden on a budget on the blog. Okay. Yeah. Figure out how much time is required for the task. If you have a big garden, it will take time to weed and water. Raised bed gardens is going to be a lot easier than an in-ground garden because you don't have to worry as much about the weeding. Some tasks are more time intensive than others. If you want your tomatoes to grow lots of fruit, be prepared to spend quality time with them. A great way to manage your time is to do one thing at a time. When we moved out to our homestead, we were excited and hopeful. Of course, hope is a good thing, but it can also overwhelm the garden. If you don't have the time to commit to the garden, always start small and work your way up. The best way to start your garden is with a realistic plan. You have to determine what kinds of plants you want to grow and how you take care of the soil throughout the year. For instance, you might plant a few things in the spring and then begin to mulch your garden with manure or hay bales. Then in the summer, when it's time to harvest, cover up that manure or hay bale with some straw or leaves. By winter, the soil underneath will be nice and loose for the following year's planting. Composting. The soil is the foundation of a good garden. We talked about that in the last few videos. To grow your food, you'll need to familiarize yourself with composting and soil management. Composting is how gardeners make black gold for their gardens. Rich, dark soil teems with nutrients and beneficial microbes for growing healthy plants. Starting a compost is a great way to reduce waste and use everything on your homestead. For how to get started on composting, there's a whole lot of different, you just look that up online and get a whole bunch of information. Look it up on YouTube, on Pinterest, you name it. Before starting a compost, be sure you never use these things. Livestock. Wait, what? Okay. Well, that was dumb. They didn't name it. She's out. The things they say not to use in the compost. Number 1 is meat and dairy. You can compost them. They just have to be composted differently and longer. So those, if you're going to compost them, you have to compost them in a different spot. You just have to look up and do your research on how to compost them. All right, raising livestock is a popular homesteading activity, but requires some upfront money. Pigs are relatively cheap to buy. Smaller animals like quail or rabbits are also suitable for beginners because they don't need as much space and don't cost much to purchase. As a result, they can be the perfect entry into homesteading. Chickens is also a great way to start. Always start with 1 or 2 animals and figure out if you want to continue down that path. I started with 6 chickens in the city. When we moved out of the country, I bought a mini pig and raised him in the house for almost 2 years. Next, I got goats, and the whole hobby farm took off. If you already have a hobby farm, getting started will be a lot easier because you'll already have some of the equipment required for livestock management. It's another reason why I'm hoping to be able to get a house on property that already has the barns and everything set up to where we don't have to worry about that part, and we can just go ahead and start getting animals. Even if you start small, livestock requires building a shelter and corral. See, again, that's the reason why we want to go for that type of property. The time needed to care for your animals will be the most labor-intensive part of homesteading. Yes, it is.
40 minutes.
Okay, start slow or go big. This is a decision that everyone who starts homesteading eventually has to make. How much time do you want to spend each day homesteading? Well, I'm hoping to be able to do it full time. So, some people enjoy having a small garden and an herb window box. Other people dream of raising chickens, goats, or pigs. Some people want to make cheese and butter or their dairy from their dairy products. These things are possible. It will take time, research, and energy. Remember, do your research. That's big, 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 huge. This is a constant repeat because I know how easy it is to get caught up in the dreaming and then the frustrations that take place because of the reality of our time and resources. Budget for things 5. I don't know why they did that. Budget for things you'll need before getting started. A lot of the items on the list are going to require money. Depending on your available land or time, these can be an investment that will pay off over the years or just a one-time cost that gets you started. Odds are you won't be able to get everything on the list in your first year, but over time it's a great idea to gather items from the list and gather knowledge for when you're ready to try homesteading. This is important because there's more to homesteading than tilling some dirt and planting some seeds. See, and that's where I jumped into it. And I done some research, just not enough. Oh, okay. There's also livestock management, food preservation, woodworking, and construction, to name a few. Always come up with a plan and cost analysis for your project. Canning. A significant part of homesteading is preserving your harvest from the garden. Canning is a method of food preservation that kills the mold, bacteria, and fungi that cause food to spoil. The goal of canning is to keep canned produce safe during storage for months or years. Many homesteaders get started with canning because it's relatively inexpensive and easy to do once you figure it out. The easiest way to start canning is with a water bath canner or boiling water canner. Same thing. The next step will be an all-American pressure canner if you're interested in pressure canning. I do have one. Again, I'm going to get a new one because I'm going to let Aaron have that one. Yes?
I'm going to have to get off the phone to close in like 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
But I have all the settings down. I'm just getting around.
Okay, that's fine. I'll see you when you get home.
Did Dad get this out?
Yes, he did.
Come on.
All right. Love you too. See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye. Clean up the phone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, sorry about that. I had Chloe on the phone. Anyway, again, I'm going to get another pressure canner because I'm going to let Aaron have the brand new one that I have because, again, he has to have a way to preserve food. I'm going to get him some seeds, some good seeds off from So Right Seeds, probably Baker's Creek, and maybe even a couple of other different heirloom sites. I want him to be able to have what he needs, and as his mom, I don't think he's going to do this on his own. He might buy a few seed packets here and there, but I want him to have something good. So, all right. Once you've got that under control, there's another method called raw packing, where you don't put the produce in the jar until after you've boiled it for a few minutes. I won't do that. Unless tomatoes, you just kind of blanch a little bit to get the skins off from them. There are simple food preservation methods, but they are essential to homesteading. Along with dehydrating, canning is probably one of the most important parts of storing food without electricity or refrigeration for long periods. And that's another reason why it is a good idea. Fermenting is another one, but I don't have everything I need for that. That takes lots and lots and lots and lots of your, I'm going to say it, Redmond's real salt in the 50-pound bags. So, or buckets. Dehydrating. This is another excellent method to preserve your food. Dehydrating is a natural and healthy way to protect your harvest and the flavor of the original fruit, vegetable, meat, and dairy product. Unlike canning, which uses heat to destroy microorganisms that cause spoilage, dehydrating removes moisture through evaporation. As a result, dehydrated foods are less likely to spoil because they have no water for microorganisms to grow. Consider working with livestock producers in your area. Meat rabbits, for instance, need about 4 square feet of space per animal. Blah, blah. They eat mostly grasses, weeds, and hay, which you'll have to purchase or grow yourself. Growing it yourself is so much better because it's so much healthier for the animals. And rabbits will eat a lot of different fruits and veggies, and you just give it to them and they'll eat it. There's also meat goats and sheep, and I will not use our goats for meat. I just won't. Dairy goats, yes. Not for meat, but for the milk. However, these animals eat grasses primarily and make a lot of manure and urine, which you'll need to consider if your area doesn't produce enough organic material for the livestock. It's another reason why we need acreage. Raising sheep has been very enjoyable, and we have had great success with the lambs we raised for meat. I just don't know if I could do that. I just don't know if I could. Can chickens be considered homesteading? Of course. You can purchase dual-purpose birds that will give you eggs and meat, and that's the route we're going to go. Well, I still want to do meat chickens, because that'll put a lot of chicken in your pantry, freezer, whatever, smoke, from the smokehouse.
Are they right here? Yeah.
They do lovely pest control, fertilizer for your garden, and provide meat for your family. Remember, chicken manure has got to be composted for 6 to 8 months at the very least to be able to use it in your garden, or it will burn your plants. It's very, 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 very rich in nitrogen. Consider your family's needs and plan accordingly. Some people get into homesteading because they want to live off the land, and that's not an option for everyone. So it'd be best to consider what you're trying to get out of this lifestyle before you jump headfirst into it. For example, if you have children, you'll need to consider how they can help with homesteading. They might enjoy watering the plants or playing in the garden. Anything that gets them outside and enjoying nature is a step in the right direction. And it's honestly, it's the best way to raise kids on a homestead. It helps to teach them responsibility and shows them how to live sustainably and how to grow food and raise animals and how to use all of that for your family's benefit and how to forage medicinal plants and that kind of thing. And it just teaches them all of this wonderful knowledge that they'll take through their lives. So if your family isn't ready to live entirely off homegrown food or raise livestock, we've been ready for a while. Consider renting a plot of land in your local community. You can use the space to grow crops you'll need for meals or have fun with it and teach your children how to grow food. Consider the cost before you buy anything. The equipment price varies depending on what type of homesteading you want. The best thing to do is create a budget and stick to it. Don't make the mistake of going out and buying everything you think you'll need at once. Instead, start with what you can afford. Take time setting up your garden or building that chicken coop and add additional items over time. Always look for used items everywhere before you make brand new purchases. Consider getting help from family and friends. One of the most incredible things about homesteading is that it offers a way for family and friends to come together and enjoy each other's company while working towards a common goal. By having others around, you'll be able to share the workload and learn from one another. Start slow, get your toes wet, and then keep moving forward. This is a great way to spend time with your family while learning to be self-sufficient. You can eventually earn income from your homesteading, and that's our number one goal is Faith First Farm and Homestead. Well, not number one. Our number one is to, do this to the glory of God, to help other people, to show other people how to be self-sufficient, and, just to be helpful to other people with food and knowledge and, all of that. And then, as we work through that, be able to be self-sufficient financially as well. Okay. One of the best reasons to start homesteading is to earn money for your efforts. If you grow food, you can sell it at your local farmer's market or even on Craigslist. If you raise livestock, consider selling your meat or breeding them with other animals to produce offspring worth money. See, we could sell baby goats. We will be able to sell baby rabbits. We'll be able to sell, like, quail chicks, which I think they're called Keats. I think I'm wrong about that. Keats, I do believe, are baby guineas. Can't remember what the name for the baby quail are. Anyway, we can sell baby chicks. If you have dairy cows, you can sell a cow. I mean, you can make $1,500 to $2,000 off from that, or $1,000, $800 to $1,000. You don't want to charge too much money, because a lot of people, you want to get it down to where people that are lower income can afford to get what they need as well, So, all right. Okay. You can also sell baby pigs. If our coon pig gets pregnant this year, we will finally profit from our hobby farm. Of course, this wasn't the ultimate goal for us. That's one of ours. I've always wanted farm animals, and it's a hobby, but the fact that we make a little extra cash makes the journey even sweeter. You can also sell extra eggs. Be prepared for the unexpected. Homesteading can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. If you plan to raise chickens, hogs, or cattle, ensure they are fenced in securely so they can't hurt anyone nearby. If you plan to raise goats, consider goats without horns based on the type of fencing you have. Be cautious about where you put structures. Don't have a pen with a bunch of hogs next to your house. If they get out, you could be seriously injured, or a neighbor's home could be damaged if they aren't adequately secured. Get educated. Remember, research. One of the easiest ways to learn about homesteading is simply doing it. Of course, you will make mistakes along the way, but there's nothing wrong with it. That's how this blog started. Homesteading is a great educational opportunity for children and can help them understand where food comes from, how to grow plants, and how animals play an essential role in our lives. And you know what? Especially, if you're homesteading with children, it's also a great way to homeschool. It's a great teaching environment, and they learn so many things while homesteading. Read as much as you can about homesteading and take your time learning the ins and outs of the lifestyle. Remember, I said research, 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 research. If you take it slowly, consider getting to know someone who has been doing it for a while. You will learn so much about homesteading just by spending some time in their presence. Know what you can and cannot sacrifice in this lifestyle. Homesteading will require some sacrifices. However, you don't have to give up your house or a car to succeed. If you can do more of the work yourself, there's no reason why you can't continue working towards your dream job while homesteading on the side. Excuse me. Get organized. You'll need to get organized if you're serious about becoming a homesteader. This is the only way that you will be able to set goals and work towards achieving them each day. It's better to do something small than nothing at all. Start small if that's possible for your situation. For example, if you live in the city or have a considerable yard, there are ways to homestead that you can start today. For example, growing tomatoes and carrots doesn't always take a ton of land. Have a positive attitude. If you want to be successful, you must always maintain a positive attitude. You don't know what challenges you may face on any given day, and the only way to get through them is with a smile. Buy nothing groups can Buy nothing. Groups can be beneficial to a homesteader. Okay. Oh, buy nothing groups can be beneficial to a homesteader. There's weird the way they have this written right here. Buy nothing groups are a great way to access items from homesteading that you might otherwise have trouble acquiring. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to give away freebies on this site. You can also list things you need. If someone has them, they can contact you to arrange a pickup. Have a plan B for the unexpected. The unexpected may not be pleasant, but it is a part of life. As a homesteader, there will likely be times when you find yourself in need of additional supplies or even additional cash. Having a plan B is essential to make sure you are prepared. We have an emergency fund that my husband keeps hidden away in case of cash flow problems with a business. If I need cash, I know where to go without asking him for it or worrying about how he's doing at work. Sometimes your homesteading efforts will fail, and it is better to be prepared. Be prepared to reevaluate your approach if it doesn't work out. When you start homesteading, don't be afraid to try something new if your first attempt doesn't work out. You eventually will learn what works best for you, which may mean trying something different. Study the weather report before harvesting crops. When harvesting crops, you must know what to expect from the weather. You need to know if there's a chance of rain or other significant weather issues that may interfere with your harvest. Most areas have a good website where you can access the weather report and see what to expect. Make time for yourself and your family. As a homesteader, there is a lot of work that needs to be completed to achieve success. Come on. Make sure you set aside time for yourself and for your family by blocking out specific days when nobody has chores or responsibilities other than to relax. You got this. It may be a little scary at first, but the sense of accomplishment you will feel when it all comes together is worth every penny spent, an hour put in. Keep an open mind to new things that are unfamiliar or seem daunting. There are tons of resources for just about any question you can think of if you research ahead of time. Finally, don't forget to savor each moment as they come. Enjoy the process while looking forward to what's next. And don't worry, we'll help guide you along the way with our blog posts or for Faith First, our videos, and other content on homesteading. Stay tuned for more helpful information coming very quickly. And keep on learning. Keep on doing your research, guys. Keep your head up and make sure that you keep an eye on your subscriptions because, again, as I said before, YouTube will unsubscribe people. And that was the end of that one. And I'm going to go ahead and get this up there. And no, I'm not waiting for Chloe to put the intro on it because I don't even have that on this. I don't have that on this computer. She uses CapCut. It's on the other one. So
Sorry. I thought because you were English.
My phone's being stupid now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get off from here, and I'm going to get this up there. And the next one I might take out of the next book we're going to be doing. I just want to start changing it up a little bit and getting some of the videos out for the pins, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get off from here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Make sure you do your research. See you in a minute.